not you're not buying any wood or pellet, but you're using you're not buying the wood, but you're using your own scrap of wood from your own I don't know, field or something, and you don't pay for it, you still need to put the cost that would cost if you were to pay for it. So this cost is not only your effort, but it is the actual, you should put in there the actual market price that you would have paid if you bought if you have bought the fuel. And then a qualitative question is, what is the thermal comfort in the house during the winter? This is it I consistently feel cold in my home, I sometimes feel cold in my home, or my home is sufficiently warm through the winter? This is a question just to a little bit assess what is the situation of the building, where are they staying? Are they always cold? Is it super old, or does it need energy efficiency interventions? But in any case, this is just one of these questions that are qualitative. And when you submit, you press the submit button, then if it was filled out without errors, then everything works well. And we get to the results page, and we have, for instance, here we took a snip of the red classification, which says that your energy spending is critically high. You can either go to PowerAct to figure out how to change that. You can go to Power Fund to find everything you need to find about novel financing schemes and community cooperatives, or find out more about national programs available to improve your energy efficiency. So the classification we have here is, when it's red is super high, they're energy poor. When it's orange, they are at the risk of energy poverty. So in case the energy prices rise a little bit, or in case they increase their energy spending in relation to last year, they will be energy poor. So these are at the risk of energy poverty. The yellow ones are doing fine, and the green ones are okay. So we have, this is a little bit the score that we have. So with the adjustments of everything we have taken into account, which are also the qualitative questions. And yeah, moving on to PowerAct, I can see that the chat is, okay, good. The chat is not relevant to the tools, but in any case, we're proceeding, and then we're going to see everything on the live example. So for the PowerAct tool, we have similar logic. You can either access it through this button, or again through the tools page, that is this one. And you can start the assessment, and here we can see whether there are something that can be done to help this energy poor household through simple behavioral changes or small scale no-regret energy efficiency interventions. In this tool, we have 4 different sections that need to be filled in. The first one are building information, then we have heating information, then air conditioning information, and then about the electrical appliances. So the building selection, we can either choose one of the buildings that we have already added in the previous step, like 2 steps before, the one I described in Power Fund, and or we can just re-enter all the information from the property size, the electricity supplier, the number of household members, and the cumulative hours spent at home per day. This is important for the tool to assess whether you are actually living in your house, or whether you're just trying all the time to keep it warm, but or if you're not even there most of the time. So this, for instance, if we are a couple of people living in the same house, and let's say that we have full-time jobs, and we both also go to the gym or something, I don't know, we stay at home an average of 10 or 11 hours per day per person. So we say 20 or 22 hours cumulatively. So we put the 20 to 22 hours. If we were a family and it's similar logic, the kids do have school and they go to different activities. Let's say that let's say that there are 2 parents and 2 kids. We have, let's say, 44 or 46 hours cumulative in the house. For the heating information, we again select the heating fuel. In case they do not use the thermostat, you check the box, you do not use the thermostat. In case they are using, you are adding here where do they put their thermostat. The consumption of last year, what I forgot to say before, the super important one is that the cumulative hours spent at home needs to be considered at the same time as the year of reference. So for instance, if we are putting the heating and electricity information of 2021, we need to keep in mind what we were doing in 2021. So for instance, 2021 COVID was still on. So I was working from home. So pretty much I was 20 hours per day at home. So we put the 20 hours for one person, or if it was 2, the 40 hours. So that's a little bit something to keep in mind here. When the heating consumption, where the heating consumption is concerned, we put the last year of consumption in all the different depending on what we used the last year consumption. The means of measurement appear later. When we did our last boiler service, and here is another qualitative question on when we sit near a closed window in winter, do we feel considerably colder than other areas, slightly colder, or they do not use and they do not notice any difference in thermal comfort? So this is again something to be something to assess a little bit. What is the status of the household and whether the people achieve their thermal comfort. As for the air conditioning operation, if you have one, you check and how do you use it? Only in the summer, both summer and winter, or you do not use it at all? When did you last change the filters, and how do you set it? How do you set the thermostat in winter or in summer and in summer? For the electric appliances, we have a little bit of information on the lighting appliances we use. How do we heat water? Electric water boiler, electric and solar, natural gas and solar, natural gas only, district heating system. What do we use? And for the electric appliances that we use often, do we leave them be in standby mode all the time? We turn them off when we're not using them, or sometimes we keep them in standby mode. After we do this, we press the submit button, and then we get to the results. And here the results are measured a little bit differently. So when we say that your Power Act score is 77, it means that you are 23 points away of being perfect in your behavior. So you're only missing 23 points, let's say. That means that this classification doesn't measure whether you're energy poor or not. It just means whether you can do you can take behavioral changes to lower your energy costs or increase your energy efficiency. We are currently updating a little bit our recommendations here, because these tools were developed during COVID, when energy prices the natural gas prices were super low, and in general. So there may be here the recommendation of changing to natural gas from oil, for instance. So now we're updating, but in any case, this tool has has this specific issue that you may be energy poor and you may be doing everything that you can do from a behavioral point of view. So this classification may be good. So you may amount up to 90 or 95. So that means that even though you're energy poor, there are not a lot of things that you can do to enhance your situation through behavioral changes or small-scale no-regret energy efficiency interventions. And then we have the Power Fund tool. We from here you can go either to Power Fund tool to find out whether you can use energy communities or cooperatives or how to leverage innovative financing schemes, or you can find national programs to further help you, for instance, do large-scale energy efficiency interventions. And here's a little bit on the classification, what we're using. That means that, for instance, when you read here, the responses on several questions indicate that there is significant margin for improvement from the behavioral aspect, whereas as we go towards the green, the green one says that the responses from the structured questions indicate exceptional adoption of energy efficient practices, and there is limited room for improvement by only implementing behavioral changes. So just a little bit to brush up our knowledge, how to read an energy bill. Don't forget to, in case you're checking out the whole year worth of bills, to check out what is the amount, the amount that they pay, and we need the whole amount, including taxes and everything, because you cannot say, I'm just gonna pay what I consumed. You pay everything. So we need this, and you need to check the period of consumption and the energy consumed. For instance, in Greece, we have every 4 months, this particular supplier is providing a measurement of kilowatt hours. So when we visited a household and they had this supplier, we just accumulated this amount of kilowatt hours. But we took into account in the cost all the different, all the electricity accounts for all the year. This is another one for natural gas this time. Again, don't forget to also add the kilowatt hours, the time period, and the amount. And yeah, that's it from this point of view, from the presentation point of view. I'm gonna stop sharing and ask for questions. And if we don't have a lot of questions now, we can also take an example, which will be nice, because we will take as an example one of you to use, one of your, maybe we have a volunteer for this.
Thanks, Eleni. I think that even something as just how to read your energy bill, it might seem very obvious when you hear it, but then when you start really looking, and if that's not your job, and maybe before you were not paying that much attention because somehow you are managing to pay the bills. Now that we see bills doubling and tripling, I'm sure that many people are looking at the bills way more carefully than before. Do we have some questions for the moment on how the tools are being used? What are the results that are, they could show, the aspects that they're looking at?
It's okay whether there are no questions, because I'm sure there will be some when we're sharing the example. But if you have it, please go ahead now. Okay, I'm just gonna share my screen again a little bit, and I'm just gonna share. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to find the clean tab I opened. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, so I guess you can see my screen now. Let's go to PowerPoor. So this is our website, and let's find the tools from here. So we go to Toolkit, and you can either access it here. Let's go open tool, and we are going to the PowerPoor Toolkit. So do we have a volunteer to let us know about their energy spending, or to make an assessment about their about a typical example in their country? So maybe we have a volunteer for this. No one? Not even a little bit? It's going to be fine, I swear.
I can always volunteer, but I think it will be way better if we have some of the participants.
Yeah, I also think so.
Whether we find a volunteer, whether we pick up someone.
We can also do this. Yes, be the annoying teacher, right? The one that picks up always the student that hasn't studied.
Okay. So
okay, I'm gonna if no one wants to do it, it's fine. I can do an example of an example that we from Greece, maybe. Yeah, okay, so I'm just checking my stuff. Let's start the survey, and let's just say that we are, yeah, it's in Greek. Sorry, I'm gonna go to my other account, which is the English one. Yeah, so you can see here is my English account. I also have one in Greek. So as I explained, these are all my dwellings I've done in English, a few, I see. The vulnerability assessments, which I've done quite a few. And my behavioral assessments, which again, quite a few, since I'm doing the training quite a lot. So let's go figure out how we are accessing PowerTarget, either from here, or we can go to the home page and we go like this. And in any case, we start the survey. Let's just say that we have a family of 4, 2 parents and 2 kids. Let's say that the annual income after taxes of the person that we found at home is 15,000. And the age is around, they are 40. And let's say that they have 2 children, and let's just say that they are indeed married and that the spouse's annual income is 12,000. So this is quite a typical household. In case they were only using electricity consumption, we check this and no heating information here, but let's say now that for this instance, they're using everything. So they are living in a 90 square meters house, and they have the energy supplier of here in Greece. Let's say that we have DEI, it's the most common one. And let's say that their annual consumption in kilowatt hours is, let me check. Let's say that the annual consumption is 4,000 kilowatt hours. I know it may seem quite a lot, but that's an average spending of kilowatt hours for a household. And let's say that we're going for we're calculating everything with the previous, with how much it was in the previous year. So this adds up to about 1,000 euros per year. A little bit less, I think, 900 maybe. So it's about 900 euros. In case they do not use a thermostat, we check this. In case they do, if there's anyone here from Greece and wants to jump in, please. If there's anyone from anywhere else and wants to jump in, again, please. But let's say that they do not, they use a thermostat, and they do it in the winter. They pretty much do it at the 21 degrees, and in the summer they're doing 26. And let's say that the heating consumption, they are using, let's say that they use natural gas. No, I'm gonna put oil because I have this information in front of me. I don't have natural gas, but let's say that we have oil, and they use 1,000. They put 1,000 liters last year, and this costs about 2,000 euros because, right? Let's check again. No, it's the other way around, I'm sorry. So let's say that they use 2,000 liters because, and it's 1,000 for the cost. And they sometimes feel cold in their home, even using all of this. So we have everything filled out, and we just push submit. And we have, of course, an energy poor family. So their energy spending and calibrating and taking into account all the qualitative stuff is, again, rather high. So yeah, I can say hand, so please.
I just have one question. Here we have in UK, we are for the heating options. They have some houses, they are using the electricity. So they don't giving a gas natural. So they are, yeah, from the electricity.
They're using what?
So like there's some houses they are not using to heat the natural gas. So you have this heater, it's working from electricity. So if there is any options here to put electricity.
Yeah. So what you can do in this case, because keep in mind that when we were doing trying to figure out a way to accommodate all the 8 pilot countries, which have vastly different characteristics, we came upon a lot of these issues. So here, when you're saying you're using only electricity, right? You can check this box. I only use electricity to cool my house. And maybe if you want, we can do if you have any rough information, we can use it now and assess your situation. So for instance, we don't need your income per se, but let's just put it, because that's the UK, right? So I'm just gonna put this, and maybe it's few, but I'm also gonna put, let's just say a random person living there, 35, no children, no married, they're just single, and they're living, in case they're living with a roommate here, because that's also an option. Of course, we add them as well, because you're splitting utilities. But in case someone, let's just say, that lives alone, we're not in London, we're in the UK, we can do it, we can live alone. Let's just say that we live in 50 square meters. We have, I don't know which energy supplier in the UK. It doesn't really matter though. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, I think, yeah, can just keep it empty maybe, yeah.
And our annual consumption in kilowatt hours is, how much would it be for everything?
Let's say around 3,500, something like this.
I think that's too little, because you're also getting, it's a heat pump, right? It's an electric heat pump. The heat pump indeed has really, the consumption is really low. So I would put this, no problem. And do you happen to know how much is the kilowatt hour in the UK now?
So I think 2.6 pounds, something like this.
2.6.
Because they have different reading for night and day. So
yeah, I know this. So we use the average, right?
Yeah.
So is it 2.6?
Let's say, yeah, 2.6 approximately.
So yeah. I'm gonna put approximately 9,000, right? I think the income is super low for UK in this. I'm just gonna put a little bit more for the income. In case you do not use the thermostat, you do this. In case you do,
this is a reading, you mean, right? It's just thermostat as a reading.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
temperature
yeah.
is
So this is another thing. It's not what it's how you put what temperature you set the thermostat. Supposedly, at some point, it reaches it. But if your house is always colder, then you have a thermometer and you know it's you put it at 22, but it's always 20, or you put it at 21, it's 19. You put
that's the things.
Yeah.
It's because it's subjective. Like I had to work in hot climate area where they have this air conditioning. So you put some things, you want to aim it to achieve it, but that actual temperature is different. So especially in summer, so if you put it like 21, but still the room temperature is 25.
No, it's not. It's not even realistic, I think, to put it like this. No, so here we put the one that we have in our home. So if you put it at 23 and it's always 21, you put 21.
All right.
And in summer, let's say that it's 26. So that's it. And now, it's again energy poor, of course. But that's how you do it with only electricity. So what we did when we drafted the tools was electricity, everything that has to do with electricity was in the in one section, and the different heating options was in the other section, because as we heard before, for instance, here in Greece, we have oil and natural gas, some have wood. In Hungary, we heard that we have wood, we have pellet, and in other countries, that's such as, for instance, Estonia, for instance, they don't even, they have district heating, so they don't know a lot of information asked here. They do not know how many means of measurement of anything they have consumed. So that's how you do it, pretty much. Like you try and play around a little bit with the tools. And here I can see that Edith informs us that in Belgium, you are encouraged to set the temperature at 18 degrees to save energy. That's super low. And since I've lived in the Netherlands, it's non-feasible because the humidity will kill you at only 18 degrees. It needs a little bit higher at least. But I understand, like the whole Europe is, all of Europe is in a tough spot, let's say.
I have another questions. Possible, because I'm working in the field of facade design and construction. So is it the recommendations they will give me these tools? It's only concern about general behaviors, or is it can give me something specialized in the facade or envelope or the system of the windows?
You will also see the next presentation, the one following after me, about the simple energy audit. But when it came to the tools specifically, we tried to include only small scale energy efficiency interventions, because the thing is, it's twofold. The reason is twofold. The first part is that sometimes energy poor people that live in dwellings do not have power to change the dwellings, either because they cannot afford it or because it's not their own. It's a difficult or it's a rental house or a social housing. It's in any case it can be difficult. And the second thing we did is because what we try to do is propose simple, easy enough behavioral changes and small scale, no regret energy efficiency interventions. The large scale ones can come from the energy supporter is not an engineer necessarily, so they cannot necessarily propose changes in the envelope or in insulation or anything like this. But we, as you will see in the next presentation, we give them a little something about this as well, and we redirect them to the either to the municipality to help them or to find some specialized program to do so. For instance, in Greece, we have this Save at Home program, and it finances up to a point Energy efficiency interventions. So you go with an engineer, you do your what is the I don't remember how it is called. It's only in Greek in my mind now, but you check out at what point you are now, where you want to go, and what are the available energy efficiency interventions, and up to what point you are eligible for financing, and which is from which are you're going to use from your own money, or you're going to go to the bank. In any case, yeah, I hope this answers. It's only small scale or behavioral changes.
Thank you.
And out of curiosity, Eleni, when you've seen, because we have 3 partners, so it's NGA, the National Technical University of Athens, where Eleni comes from, but also there are another 2 partners from Greece. So we quite often in many countries, we associate energy poverty with the heating, but in Greece, but I see also quite a few southern countries also here on the training today. Cooling is definitely also something that might be seen sometimes as a luxury, but with growing temperatures to 40+ degrees is a necessity. So do you see that also people are suffering with high energy bills because of cooling?
Yeah, that's again another discussion we also had at the consortium level when drafting the tools, especially because, for instance, last summer it was a heat wave across Europe, so it is an actual problem. And with the energy crisis, not only the climate crisis, I was meaning to say, it's going to become worse and worse, I believe, during the summer. And it's not only in southern countries anymore, if that's like another way to put it. You live in Belgium now, you should know that some days, even in not southern countries, it's really hard to live without air conditioning, especially when we're talking about even buildings that are non-residential, but also in residential. So yeah, that's why we also did this differentiation between electricity spending and heating fuels, let's say.
That's correct. And also in some of the countries that the houses are not even fit for those temperatures. They were not built for such a climate. Okay, I see. Okay, Carlos Prata, who is actually from the Housing Europe Network from Matosinhos. Nice to see you there. Do we have some other comments and on the tools and in general on that module 2? We have another 4 minutes before we head to a lunch break, but maybe some other first ideas, comments, and how do you see that being put into practice will pop up. Attila? Or that's just the camera on?
No, it's a willingness to speak. So yes, just a minor thing I registered on the website, and first I didn't know was the problem with the password. So it didn't tell you how long it should be or what was missing. So it's just a minor thing. And my question is about if you don't have thermostat or such things, what is your proposal to measure the heat in the house?
Mm-hmm. You can either not put it at all inside in the tools, but even a simple thermometer would do, like a room temperature thermometer would do. I know, for instance, a lot of households, I don't know how it is in Hungary, but I know from my grandparents, for instance, they do not have a thermostat, but in the center of the house, there is a thermometer, and what the thermometer says goes. So you know how it is in the house, like you get the feeling.
Yes, it's just because, I told you I'm from Saints to Homes Association, but working in another one, and we did kind of the same things in rural Roma dwellings, like trying to measure the outside temperature, the inside temperature, and the consumption of the fuel, which was, kind of measuring the bucket and the box in which they bring inside the wood. So we tried to do it. And we found such tools, I don't know if you know it. This is a USB thermometer which can measure the temperature. You can set it in every hour or twice a day, and then you can download the data, and you get a real data set of the temperatures of the house. You can compare it to the outside temperature, and then because we were at okay, but if we just measure the fuel consumption, is not enough.
You also needed to monitor, I guess, right? Because in what you did, you needed to monitor in the whole day. What is the temperature in the house?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a really good, actually really good idea. But here, mostly the point is to assess a little bit whether they put it comically low, for instance. Like 18 degrees for me is super low for the winter, but in any case,
this is the official in Hungary now.
It is also in Hungary the official. Okay,
yeah,
so
they lower. This is not now. It's adequate in Hungary.
Now it's fine, but because I've been in Hungary, and I don't think in January or February 18 inside is viable, because outside is -10 or something. So in any case, that the point was when we were developing the tools, the directive in the national level, but also in an EU level, was 22 degrees. So what the point of this is that if it is below the recommended, like if you on purpose put it below, then you're trying to then you may be energy poor as well. That's why we did it. That's the point. But that's a really good idea with the USB ones, because you can also see across time what is happening.
Yeah, so we had 2 of these stuffs, and we had the members of the community. Okay, now you put it in your house for a week and then give it to your neighbor, so we could have different data sets for the households.
That's really useful, and it's also useful to assess the situation of the households, right? Like even, great.
And also when the project was drafted was like 2019. So that seems to be another world now that when we look at it. It's
that's true.
We see really
even from late 2020 when the tools were made, it's like we're different. If you remember back then, it was you can do whatever you want with energy because of COVID, the prices are so low. Put it at 25 degrees for all it matters. So
so also the trainings are really adapting, and that's also part of the idea that we stay in touch also after that training, and that we see how things are evolving, because we're trying to deliver what we can and what we know, but who knows what will happen in half a year from now. So it's 12:47 Brussels time. We had scheduled about 45 minutes for a lunch break, and also an opportunity for you to stretch a little bit. And then here I'm just posting in the chat what follows next. We'll be back at 1:30. We'll keep the call open, just stop the recording. And we'll be back at 1:30, 2:30 Eastern European time with a third module. So we have 3 speakers for the third module, and then we'll go from theory to practice, looking at energy saving measures, how energy poverty alleviation offices are doing on the ground, and similar experiences. So not to eat from your lunch break, not to eat the time from your lunch break, we'll just have a little break now, and please don't disappear in the afternoon. Stay with us. So see you in about 45 minutes back again. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. See you in a bit.
See you.
See you in a bit. Bye-bye.